Alright, what's going on, everyone? It's Friday, January 16th. Let's talk PlayStation. Alright, let's kick this off with perhaps the most interesting news story of the week. Firmware updates, of course. Vita got firmware update 3.36, which apparently improves software stability. I read somewhere that someone saying that on the friends list, you can now see people playing PS2 and PS1 games and like PSP games, which we all know that's never been possible before on PS3 or Vita or PS3. We all know the friends list has been very fragmented on PSN. It's been hard to be able to see what people are playing. So, but I actually cannot confirm this myself, so I'm starting to think it's not true, but I looked into it. I don't know, I can't confirm it. No one on my list is playing a PS1 or PS2 game, or maybe I can't see them because that's not a real feature. That wasn't added, but maybe you guys can tell me. Anyway, that happened, but the real big piece of news out of this firmware stuff is PSP got a firmware update. PSP got firmware 6.61, just in Japan. Apparently will be coming stateside and other territories, but yeah, it did get a firmware update, apparently improving software. Some people are saying that it could possibly patches more exploits for the PSP, but now if you remember, which you probably don't, is that the PSP hasn't gotten a firmware update in like 3 years. The last firmware update for PSP was back in 2011, I think, or 12. I'm not sure, but it was a long time ago, and we all know, like, PSP, like, Sony stopped manufacturing the thing, you know, they've moved on to Vita. It's one of those things, right? But Sony does still support their systems. We all know they do this. They do it with every single piece of hardware they've ever released for PlayStation, and PSP is no exception. They have been supporting it for a very long time, software-wise, because actually in Japan, the system still sells a few hundred units every week, and games still come out for it in Japan. Games still sell for it in Japan. It actually still does pretty well over there for a system being how old. So that's just really interesting. So it's getting 6.61, and that should be soon if you're still playing your PSP. Speaking of Vita and PSP, let's talk about something kind of related. PlayStation TV apparently got a price cut. Apparently, as in, like, you know, it's just a retailer price cut right now. Sony has officially responded saying that it's not an official price cut, but a lot of retailers have slashed the price of PlayStation TV, so you can get it for like $80, which usually it's $100. That's the bundle without the extra, you know, the DualShock or anything, or no games. And if you do get the bundle with games and DualShock, that was originally like $140 or something. Now it's like $100, so you can go out and get that now. I imagine Sony's allowing this, and retailers are encouraging it because the damn thing's not selling. It doesn't surprise me whatsoever because it tanked in Japan. It's still tanking there. It's probably tanking here pretty bad. So yeah, I have to imagine they're just taking up shelf space at this point. So if you're looking to get one, now's probably a good time. So while we're on the topic of bundles and shelf space and retail stores, let's also talk about a new bundle that Sony's doing. So apparently Sony is now shipping The Last of Us with every single 500GB PlayStation 4. The bundles should be going out soon, so, like, you know, certain stores are still going to have regular PS4 bundles. But it's for the same price, so the price is staying exactly the same. You're just going to be getting The Last of Us on top of it. Which is interesting because we were just talking about this in the firmware in the 2015 predictions, which was, you know, on the topic of price cut. I was like, you know, PS4, I'm not sure if it'll get a price cut. Maybe it's too soon, but maybe it's not, because Sony's been allowing many retailers to do such a low price drop. And, you know, retailers themselves, of course, are encouraging their own price drops. They're throwing in all these extra games with it. We all know that Sony makes money on the hardware at this point. So they can afford to add extra shit to it. They can afford to cut the price if they want it to. You know, it's one of those cases where instead of dropping the price of the hardware, they're just adding more value to the hardware by giving you an extra free game. So, and Sony's taking advantage of this by saying, hey, if you've never owned a PlayStation, if you didn't have a PS3, get it right now, get a PS4 now, because now we're throwing in The Last of Us with every one of them. The price staying the same. And I believe Microsoft has dropped the price to X1 again back to $350, because we all knew it would have been a stupid idea to keep it to bounce it back up to $400 after fantastic sales over the holidays. So both companies are staying pretty competitive and lean. So let's get into a really hot topic, actually, that was just released. It's Naughty Dog. We're always talking about Naughty Dog because now this is their year. Uncharted 4 is coming, so we're getting more and more details about it pretty much every single week as time goes on. A lot of interviews going on and everything. So Edge Online released this one interesting thing, which was Naughty Dog on the topic of frame rate for Uncharted 4. Now, the last demo we saw was that gameplay demo at PlayStation Experience, and we all know that it was actually running at 30 frames per second when originally during the very first teaser trailer that they released, Naughty Dog was very forward with saying they were targeting 60 frames per second with that game. We all know, like, it looks fantastic, and a lot of people were shocked, and they're like, oh man, it's probably not going to happen, or what have you. Naughty Dog has recently commented on the 30 frames per second, saying that if need be, if it compromises player experience, they will do 30 frames per second for that game if they have to. Which, for a lot of people that are seeing this news, they're like, oh, well, of course Naughty Dog can't, I never would have expected them to do it. Or oh, how dare you say 60 and now you're going to 30. And, the frame rate topic is crazy for people because it's just that kind of topic. But that is the actual news story, which is if Naughty Dog has to, they will lower the frame rate to 30 and keep it at a locked 30. Now, what they're saying right now is that last gameplay demo that they did show, the game was running at a locked 30, but if they unlock the frame rate, it's sitting at around 37 frames per second. So it's obviously above 30, still not really close to 60 at all. And of course, we expect the visuals to be improved on this game, and if the visuals are going to be improved, that might affect the frame rate even more. It's definitely a sketchy thing, but the game's still far out, so we still got to wait and see what actually happens when the game comes out. One of my biggest pet peeves with topics like these is when people always say, "Oh, why can't developers get games to 60 frames per second on these consoles, on the next-gen consoles?" Blah blah blah. I always tell people don't seem to understand this whatsoever. In terms of console development, when a developer makes a game, it's a choice. It's a choice on the frame rate, it's a choice on the resolution. When a developer chooses 30 frames per second, it's not because they can't reach 60 frames, it's because they're choosing not to. And that's, console is a closed box, the hardware is set in stone. PlayStation 3 can do 60 frames, PS2 can do 60 frames. It's a matter of what the developer chooses to do. And a lot of developers choose to increase the visual aspect or the resolution of their title instead of the frame rate. That's just the way it is. That's their choice. If Naughty Dog wanted to make 60 frames per second for Uncharted 4, they certainly could. But they're the kind of developer, like many developers, they want to push visual aspect. They want to make games look pretty. I mean, hell, that's why Uncharted 3 looked amazing on PlayStation 3. Tons of PS3 games look fantastic. We all know, 360 PS3 games looked beautiful. But it's really, really old hardware. So, of course, those games were 720p, 30 frames. But if they wanted to do 60, 1080p games, they could have. The games just wouldn't have looked as pretty. Just simple as that. People don't seem to understand that concept of games. It's that simple. If you're talking PC, that's an open platform. Whatever machine you have is what you're working with. So when a developer makes a PC game, they give you all the options. Say, hey, whatever machine you have, tweak the controls how you like. But a console's a closed box. When a developer makes a game, they're choosing what they want to do with it. Alright, now that rant is over, it's a pretty good rant. I probably should do more of those. Let's get into our hot news story of the week. This is real hot, a little steamy, gonna get you a little bit flustered here. Some porn statistics. So, obviously, if you're like super young or something, or not safe for work, blah blah blah, all that disclosure BS or whatnot. But we're going into a porn topic. This is kind of irrelevant, not really like news, or it's nothing really important, but it's funny, it's interesting. I like reading news stories like this. It seems like a lot of porn websites recently have been very vocal in sharing statistics about like console usage. So let's talk about the PS4 a little bit. Now, like a couple weeks ago, Pornhub, I believe, released a statistic saying that the Xbox One became the most used console for their like website. Before it was the PlayStation 4, so which is interesting. But this new what's it called here? Sugar DVD, some streaming service, I guess, released some of their statistics. So let's go over them. The peak hours for viewing on PS4 is 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Apparently for X1 and iPad, it's 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. That sounds a lot more accurate. Don't know why PS4 users doing it during that time, but PS4's they're 2.6 times more likely to like watch porn, I guess, or they're watching porn more often. For PS4 users, their top categories are amateur, big butts, Asian, college, and feet, in that order. So feet's number 5. I guess a lot of PlayStation people are into feet. It's foot fetish. 23% apparently watch porn with a partner on PS4. PS4 subscribers are more likely to watch with a partner. Yeah, I reread the same thing. 5% of... No, wait. So PS4 users are 5 times more likely to search Asian, and Xbox One users are 3 times more likely to watch redhead or teen videos. So that is some interesting porn statistics for you guys. again, like totally irrelevant, but some dirty stuff. Dirty video game, PlayStation, Xbox, iPad people. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. Channel update. It's another one of those things where I'm like, sorry. At my new job, I'm working like 12-hour days now, and it sucks, and I'm working a lot. And I've been telling you guys the same thing over and over again, so I'm not gonna like keep lying to you. I just am getting lazy. I come home, I want to go to sleep or something. So I definitely keep doing these videos. Let's Plays are like super easy to record, so I just get lazy when I want to do extra videos, like the remembering videos. Or a while ago, a lot of people are asking like for me to do those video game teacher videos I did a while ago. And of course, around gaming, I want to do again. I got a whole bunch of topics I want to do, but at this point, I think I might do like a channel relaunch or something and record a whole bunch of cool stuff, new stuff, make one of those like channel trailers, maybe get a new banner or something, and really start to get back into the content. So I gotta wait till my time frees up again, because I won't stay working 12-hour days, and I won't stay working as many days as I am, because I actually have 2 jobs right now, and I'm gonna leave one soon, probably like going into summer. So you know, that's that. Just letting you guys know. So the video still might be a little slow until I kind of get out of my funk, but when I get out of that funk, I'm gonna hit it hard, real hard. Kind of funny because like we just had a porn story. Now I'm saying I'm gonna hit it hard. Sexual innuendos. Now you're getting them. That's what this channel's stooped to. Anyway, that's about it for me. I'm Ryan Badecki. Thanks so much for talking with me. I'll see you guys all next Friday.